Alright, so SH Figuarts Turles. Turles? Man, was this figure ever an impulse buy. And I don't mean that in a bad way, just literally. It released at a time when my SHF collecting days were winding down, and so are my uploads. But does it disappoint? Let's get into it. Okay, so let me start out by saying, yeah, I know it's been forever and this isn't me promising a comeback, it's just me trying to show y'all some appreciation for sticking around. All I can promise though is this video is going to have better production than the animation and Dragon Ball Super episodes when they first started airing. Yeesh. Okay, so Turles, originally making his appearance back in the 1990s Tree of Might movie, he is one of the few DBZ movie figures to grace the line to date, even before Janemba, who, by the way, I feel like is finally around the corner. Anyways, this thug was doing the whole Goku Black thing before Goku Black even knew who Goku Black was. Say that 5 times fast. SHF Turles released back in July 2023 with a retail price of 7,700 Japanese yen, or just about $7 Canadian, $7.32 to be exact. Like many others before him, Turles was savagely beating the crap out of Piccolo and company, and this guy literally Scarfaced Goku. He pinned Goku down with his foot and shot him up in the back. No, not those kind of back shots, calm yourself. Taking a look at his packaging, he features a darker color palette overall with a sort of eggplant backdrop for his box color. Kinda reminds me of something Frieza would pick. A standard box art for the era, I think it's a nice touch that they did decide to print the instructions on the box itself rather than have a separate leaflet. But yeah, this figure looks as if it was ripped right out of the movie itself. Or does it? Let's compare. Yeah, I'd say it absolutely does. They really nailed the aesthetics of this character, from the darker skin tone to the nuances in the way his armor is colored between light and dark shots in the movie. Mind you, it's a bit clearer to see what color his armor actually is in the video games than the anime. Now, I know this is usually a thing reserved for con exclusive figures, but I think if there was a bit of shadowing on the faceplates, the figure would have popped that much more. But for what it is compared to the figures released in its era, it didn't miss, let's be real. Now, looking at the figure's body and even the cape, it looks pretty premium, and of course, it's a web exclusive, so I'd say this figure's appearance definitely makes it feel like the moniker of web exclusive means something more than an insane aftermarket price in this case. But yeah guys, I'm really loving the color palette on this thing. Dark all around, really giving that whole evil Goku vibe some personification here. I think they went with an interesting choice of giving the Saiyan armor this almost glossy satin sort of look, which contrasts really well against the pale mattedness of Turles' skin. Like, at the end of the day, someone looking at your collection would probably want to know why you have so many Goku look-alike figures. And I'd say this figure, Turles at least, does a nice job of letting someone who might not know Dragon Ball be like, you know, this character is either a depressed alt-rock era version of Goku, or there's something more sinister about him. And yeah, there is. Speaking of Goku, how does he compare? So aside from the obvious aesthetic differences, here's how much Turles weighs in grams compared to a Goku figure here, just so we know, are we getting our money's worth or not. Not only is there a difference there, but he's definitely a little taller than Goku as well. Now, the only reference I could find with Turles' height is from the video games, where he's listed at 5'11 and Goku's listed at 5'9, so I guess this checks out. He's also definitely thicker too, falling more in line with figures like Nappa and Raditz, which kind of gives a nice world building effect here. And what I mean is, you take the figures of the Saiyans who technically grew up on planet Vegeta, and they all have that stockier build. Except for Bardock, I'm not really sure what happened there. He was getting in too much cardio to kill the gains. Also really like Turles' Scouter. It doesn't look like a cheap last minute add-on, and the translucency of the glass with the red tint was very nicely done here. Everything from the hair sculpt to the boots is clean, and on this figure I'm happy to report that, on mine anyways, there isn't any noticeable paint bleeding. Maybe some divots here and there in the sculpt, but nothing to gripe about. Okay, so Turles does come with a decent amount of accessories, which I'd say was very fair for his release price. He comes with 3 replacement left wrists, 4 replacement right wrists, 3 facial expressions being screaming, clenching, and the weird tongue out about to eat something sus face, crossed arms, a cloak part, the effect for the kill driver energy attack, and last but not least, the fruit from the Tree of Might. I also would like to point out that unlike some other figures, the ease of interchanging the parts and accessories on this figure here is actually quite smooth, which I think adds to the enjoyability factor of owning the figure. I'm looking at you, Raditz, and your crossed arms. I think the Kill Driver effect part has an interesting color choice of a gold accented yellow rather than a plain old straight up translucent yellow, so I'm a fan of this. Now with Turles, I do wish they topped him off with a stand, but hey, at least there's pegs for the effect part. I think each one of his faces were nicely done here. Usually I'll make a comment about maybe some lines needing to be deeper in the facial expressions or something, but I think this one came out quite nicely. Now with articulation, there isn't anything left to be desired here when it comes to a standard Figuart. I'm especially happy about the Saiyan Armor shoulder pads, because I can't tell you how long of a way we've come from the 1.0 Scouter Vegeta's shoulder pads, which you'd move and be afraid of just everything freaking cracking off. This figure, on the other hand, feels very stable, and throughout various poses, it's just throwing a lot of stability, and I think that's owed a lot to the improvement in the 3.0 tech and the heftiness of this figure as well. All in all, guys, I'm really happy with this figure. Like I was saying, I don't collect this line as much as I did before, and I've even sold off some figures, but this is one I'm happy I hung on to. I really feel like he was worth every cent, and possibly he's even undervalued compared to some of the other figures on the aftermarket out there. Overall, I'm giving SH Figuarts Turles a 9 out of 10. I can't find that much wrong with him. He feels different enough from the rest of the Saiyans in the line, especially the rest of the ones from the Saiyan saga, that I don't feel ripped off as if I just bought another repaint of one of those figures. And I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not crazy into paint defects or the manufacturing process behind these guys anymore. So for what he is, love. What do you guys think of Turles? Did you pick him up? Comment below and let me know. You know what I always say, haven't said it for years, but I'll say it again. May the best of your todays be the worst of your tomorrows. Peace.